The city of Portland is going through a lot of changes in the next couple of years. The new form of government is in progress now ahead of next year's elections, when we'll choose an all-new city council and a new mayor, since current Mayor Ted Wheeler announced he will not be running for another term. And one of the first jobs that the new mayor will have to choose is a new police chief. That's because Portland's current chief, Chuck Lovell, announced today that he's stepping down as chief.
I will be stepping down as Chief of Police for the City of Portland effective October 11th. I want to thank the Mayor for having faith in me and appointing me to this role. I was appointed at a very turbulent time for our city and our bureau.
Lovell was sworn in as chief in the summer of 2020 at the height of protests after the murder of George Floyd. Lovell says he's going to stay on the job as a police officer in Portland, just not as the chief. Our Blair Best was at the press conference today. And Blair, why is Lovell stepping down now?
Well, Ashley, he says that it's really just the right time for him and that it makes sense for him to step down now, seeing as city leadership is changing.
Yeah, for me, I took this job essentially overnight in June of 2020. And I always knew that I wasn't going to do it for the 7 years remaining I had in my career. So I think it's always been a question of when is the right time. And I think for me, with the mayor's decision not to seek re-election, it gives you a point in time where it's probably wise to reflect and see kind of where you're at. And for me, I just felt like it was time. And like you said, there are a lot of important things going on in this city right now. And I think when you start feeling that way, then it probably is time.
Yeah, there's a lot of change happening. So Blair, what's next for Lovell then?
Well, he's going to stay at the Bureau and work in community engagement. It's actually something he did before stepping into the role of police chief. And today, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler gave him his full support and thanked him for stepping into the role of chief during such a difficult time. Now, Lovell says he's proud of some of the changes that came to the Bureau during his time as chief. Right now, Portland police are working on implementing body cameras. He says he's also proud of bringing what's called the ABLE program to the Bureau. It stands for Active Bystander for Law Enforcement. It's a Department of the Justice program that trains officers to step in when they see misconduct.
And Blair, what's next for the Bureau? Because we have more than a year before a new mayor is sworn in, who can then pick the next chief. But who's going to be in charge until then?
So Mayor Ted Wheeler has appointed former officer Bob Day, who's actually stepping out of retirement to take this over. Now, Day was a Portland police officer for 29 years. He retired in 2019 and was the deputy police chief before that. He says he's only there to fill the role until a new chief is chosen by a new mayor, and he's not interested in staying on the job past 2025. Mayor Wheeler said he appointed an interim chief because finding a new permanent chief would take too long.
When I appointed Chief Outlaw, Danielle Outlaw, to be police chief, that was after an exhaustive national search, and it took the better part of a year to conduct that search, putting out the notification, collecting the applications, engaging with community panels and others around the ultimate decision, vetting the finalist to make sure that there wasn't anything we needed to know about that hadn't been disclosed, better part of a year. And I think it would be very unfair for me to select a permanent chief for whoever the new mayor is. I think they need to pick their own public safety team.
Now, the interim chief, Bob Day, really taking on a big job because it's not the same picture in Portland that it was in 2020, but there are a lot of other public safety concerns, especially around crime and drug use. Blair, how does Day plan to address all of that?
Right, so today he said one of his first focuses is going to be reducing crime while also tackling the Bureau's staffing crisis. Now, he also noted that he believes the city needs a holistic approach to public safety.
Safety is far bigger than the police. We know that safety is connected to clean water, to education, to housing, to employment, to well-marked safe streets, et cetera, et cetera. So I absolutely see and understand the importance and the role of policing in the public safety conversation, but I see this as a system. And I want us to be able to see this as a system versus trying to rely upon an individual or a single city bureau to address this.
And we also want to point out that Day will be working alongside Lovell for the next 16 months until a new chief is hired. Ashley.
Okay, Blair, thank you. And if you're keeping track, Lovell was the longest serving chief Portland Police has had in nearly a decade. He replaced Jamie Resch, who only lasted about 6 months on the job. She stepped down during the racial justice protests in 2020. She had taken over for Danielle Outlaw. You heard the mayor mention her. Well, she served for 2 years. She then went to be the police commissioner in Philadelphia, but just recently resigned from that job. And Outlaw replaced Larry O'Day, who retired amid a criminal investigation after shooting a friend while he was off duty. O'Day later had his police certification revoked.